R-Type Final 2 has been making some waves since it was announced, and developer Granzella has dropped a playable demo for both PlayStation 4 and Nintendo Switch ahead of its projected April 30th release date. Let's take a closer look.
Once upon a time, humanity was on the brink of destruction.
The R-Type Final 2 demo begins with a pre-rendered intro, offering the player backstory to the events taking place in the game. It's rendered well enough and prefaces the game nicely. It starts with the player selecting one of an initial roster of 3 craft, the series' iconic R9A Arrowhead, the R9D Shooting Star, and the R9F Andromalius. Each offers a good variety to their weapon loadouts and limited customization with regards to their missiles and defensive bits. The color of their fuselages and canopies can also be customized, along with the addition of decals for good measure. This adds a nice personal touch to the many ships that will be available in the final game, which is sure to result in a ton of great user-made designs. R-Type Final 2 has a decent enough control scheme. Movement is handled with either the D-pad or the left analog stick, and players can fire rapid shots with the circle button or single shots with the square button. The square button can also be held to charge the ship's main weapon for heavy damage through multiple levels. Item carriers will drop weapon pickups when destroyed, which will summon and upgrade the Force, an indestructible add-on that can mount to the front or rear of the ship in play. The Force can also be launched with the cross button. Missiles and bits can also be obtained in this manner as well. The player's speed feels pretty good on the whole, but for those that need a boost or less speed in general, the L1 and L2 buttons can be used to adjust the speed as necessary. We never used it though. Only one stage is available to play in this demo, with 4 different difficulties to choose from: Practice, Kids, Normal, and Bido. For us, it's Bido or Bust, and if R-Typer was available, we'd have chosen it instead. This limited taste of Final 2's actual gameplay won't necessarily contain all the conditions needed to properly use all of the player's functions. Case in point, the dose gauge, similar to that in R-Type Delta, was never filled to a point where it could be used, but it does a great job of setting the atmosphere. The gameplay feels more or less solid, but some slowdown and frame drops arose in some sections of the stage, and the intro sequence was almost entirely 30 frames per second, despite it trying in spots to go higher. We also noticed that there was some texture pop in some situations as well, though admittedly the lighting effects were pretty amazing throughout. We imagine a PlayStation 4 Pro or PS5 might perform better, but the PC version also holds a lot of potential, which is where we are ultimately likely to go with this release. Despite the limited nature of the available stages, players can accumulate air points and other materials in order to develop and unlock 2 more ships in the returning R Museum: the R9A2 Delta and the R9D2 Morningstar. These ships can be registered and used to play in the demo stage as well, adding at least a small morsel of replay for players to chew on. However, no data is saved in this demo, so returning to the game will result in these ships no longer being available. A number of menu selections are also grayed out at this time, including Stage and Score Attack, a special option which cryptically teases players to return from time to time, and a shop link, which is a bit worrisome as this is a game with the potential for just a ton of expensive paywall-locked content, or perhaps a season pass. In the end, we sincerely hope not. R-Type Final 1 included everything on the disc with no additional payment needed. Otherwise, a standard assortment of video, audio, and control options can be tweaked in the options menu, with the R manual detailing various functions and features as a manual does.
Now, you are about to go into the start sequence.
Here's where things get a bit messy though. We've seen quite a few games that have made their way to the Switch as a multi-platform release suffer greatly due to its general lack of horsepower. With the base PS4 already exhibiting some stability issues, it was no real surprise that the Switch version would suffer, and as we thought, it gets pretty severe. A harsh reduction to the game's resolution, a vast reduction to the quality of the lighting, reduced weapon effects, shimmering edges, intense stuttering, texture pop, and nasty frame drops make us wonder if this version shouldn't have been skipped. We get it, the Switch is popular, but a game like R-Type in today's day and age needs decent, consistent, smooth performance. And while we understand that this is a pre-release build with less than a month to go, we don't really see these issues getting fixed by the time this version drops. The PC version is theoretically the one for us in this regard, as our PC outshines and outperforms the PlayStation 4 and even the PS4 Pro in very big ways. But if we were to choose only one console version, PS4 would definitely be it. We assume the Xbox Series version would perform identically to PlayStation in this regard. On another note, we're enjoying the music in this release quite a bit from what we can hear. The sound effects, however, leave a bit to be desired, as a number of them skip in weird ways. You can try the R-Type Final 2 demo for yourself on PlayStation 4 and Switch. R-Type Final 2 is slated to release on April 30th, 2021.